Tornadoes, flash flooding, the remnants of Ida did not hold back.
Countless cars and even a school bus caught in rising water. Here in Edgewater, roofs ripped off homes.
And South River High School picking up the pieces.
Annapolis looks like a war zone. A view of the damage you'll only see here. Plus, close call. A woman captured the frightening moments when a tornado touched down.
I was in mom mode, which is we've got to get to shelter.
She's walking us through what she did to stay safe.
And flooding could still be a concern tomorrow. Everything you need to know before you go to bed.
Live from the nation's capital, this is WUSA 9 News at 11. And we begin with breaking news, of course. The remnants of Ida arrived and did not hold back. The cleanup is just getting started. There is so much to get to. Tornado damage, dangerous flash flooding, homes destroyed. It is a mess out there. The National Weather Service confirms 2 tornadoes touched down in our area, one in Anne Arundel County, the other in Charles County. And this is some of the best video we've seen all day. One of our viewers captured a tornado touching down in Edgewater. You can see it right there. Homes in that area are destroyed, roofs just ripped off. Annapolis was also hit hard. This is what it looked like as the storms moved through. It appears a tornado touched down there. The other big concern, flooding. A school bus with children on board got caught in it all. Good evening, I'm Leslie Foster. What a day and what a night. There was a red weather alert and Ida made it clear it was here. So you know what that means. We're in storm mode. Our team is live showing you damage all across our area. We begin in Anne Arundel County where we're seeing some of the worst damage there in Edgewater. Roofs on homes are gone. And that's where we find Mike Valerio. Mike, give us a sense of where you are and what's happening right now.
Well, you know, good evening, Leslie. After working for hours and hours straight since 3:30 this afternoon, crews here have finally decided to take a break for the evening and come back at 7 a.m. to begin work in earnest to make sure that this structure is reasonably intact and is not going to collapse. But just looking at this backdrop right here, even at this 11 o'clock hour, Leslie, you can see where the roof used to be just peeled off by these winds. Just the intensity here is so remarkable. And this roof thrown into a lake just a few yards away from where we're standing. So taking you to the video that we shot earlier just after the storms really started to calm down. This is Red Admiral Court, which is just off of Route 2. Such a beautiful part of Edgewater here. No fewer than 4 homes in this little subdivision, this little cul-de-sac alone, have their roofs either peeled off or have just been pummeled by debris. The family, though, who used to live in this absolutely beautiful home, you know, they told us that they're so thankful for the neighbors you're seeing in the video right now who just stepped in to help, climbed roofs immediately to patch them up and put tarps on. And they are also, Leslie, so supremely grateful to one firefighter especially. Take a listen.
He ran in and got all of the medicine that he could for my dad to last for a couple days, which was awesome. He just darted right in upstairs, grabbed a whole basket. And I think it's really nice to see how the community, you've got old folks, you've got young kids here, cutting things up, dragging away. I think it's unfortunate times like these where the community comes together. Everyone, thank God, is alive, and it reminds you what's important in life.
And that's what matters most. Absolutely. So this is London Town Road, the video that you're looking at right now. Such an amazing part of Edgewater, another bucolic, idyllic stretch. And that road, especially Havre de Grace Road, just off of London Town Road, canopied by trees. Tons and tons of tree branches fell down. But Leslie, again, after working since roughly 3:30 in the afternoon, at this hour, all of those roads are passable. One more thing before we go here. This family, again, who you just heard from, they said, Leslie, that they are going to rebuild. Their plan is to be back here in 1 year's time. They were telling me and our colleague Delia Gonsalves. They want to have a party, invite all of us journalists and neighbors back who were here in this moment to celebrate their return. And they're also, you know, I thought you put it really beautifully, Leslie, on Twitter just a couple hours ago. This is a family of faith, and they said they have their priorities in line. They're going to ask a higher authority to help them rebuild, and they're just so glad that everybody is alive. Leslie, let's send it back to you.
You know what? It's the beginning of their comeback story starting today. Mike, Thank you. 4 miles away in Annapolis, parts of the city look like a war zone. This is video from Chris's charcoal pit on West Street. It's a beloved gathering spot, and it is now demolished. Adam Longo is in that area with an exclusive view of the damage we're seeing tonight.
A much closer look at all the extensive damage here along West Street in Annapolis. It's going to keep crews busy throughout the night. I mean, look at the debris field that's just right here in the middle of the street. This is the kind of work up here that's going to be continuing throughout the night. Workers from the power crew restringing the lines and putting these poles back. I want to take you through to this McDonald's that's right across the street here. This is the McDonald's sign that fell in the middle on the side of the road here. Had a car been there, that'd have been seriously bad news. Look, that sign was perched right up on that pole there. Extensive debris, a lot of cleanup for crews to go through tonight.
A long night ahead of picking up downed utility lines and mangled metal. Power poles toppled and broken like toothpicks across the road. Right after the storm had carved its destructive path down West Street here. Emergency crews had to evacuate everyone because of ruptured gas lines.
And honestly, sir, I underestimated the phone message. I thought, okay, let's see what these people may have in store for me. I would have never guessed that I would be in for something like that.
Ben McNulty got that text while inside of his van. Then the whole thing started rocking.
I looked up in the sky and I saw this like whirlwind of the debris field that must have been like 500 feet high. And it was all like garbage bags and all this stuff.
Once the coast was clear, Ben got a peek at what the storm had unleashed.
I came around the corner and I could not believe what I saw. I could not believe I saw cars mangled with telephone wires everywhere. People afraid to get out of their cars because of the fact that they may get electrocuted. Rooftops blown off. It's just absolute. It looks like a war zone out there.
And special thanks to the Annapolis Fire Department for being able to bring us so close so we could bring you those video images of the damage. You know, we saw a number of businesses down there just absolutely pulverized by this storm. Windows smashed out, cars in their driveways just ruined as well. The fire department tells me it's going to be some time before this stretch gets back to normal. This road, West Street, will be closed until at least through tomorrow morning. Leslie.
It is incredible there, Ads. Thank you. We're going to bring in the chief, Topper Shutt, right now. It sure was a busy day for you and the team. So how strong were those tornadoes, Tom?
Well, we think the one that was in Annapolis could be an EF2, could have winds over 110 miles per hour. So here's the radar from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and it captures both the tornadoes, one to the south down toward La Plata, and then one up toward Annapolis. And also notice the lightning increased during the time, which is an indication the storms got stronger. So these are all the damage reports. There's a tornado there. There's a tornado over in Annapolis. So this one hit around 150, around near Allen's Fresh. No injuries, okay? And no injuries actually with this tornado near Annapolis, around Riva. That hit at about 216. So that was good news that we had no injuries. So in terms of the flooding, guess what? We do not have a flash flood watch in effect, but we do have what we call aerial flood warnings north and west. We'll talk about that, and we'll talk about when the drier air begins to move in.
Yeah, speaking of flooding, Top, we were hearing about water rescues all day long, and we can't say it enough. Turn around, don't drown. Not everybody did that today. There were several rescues in Frederick County, Maryland, and in some cases, drivers were even parked and the water caught up to them anyway. That's what happened to a school bus with students on board. Tom Dempsey is live with more on those frightening moments. And Tom, this is the closest we've seen you to that school bus, and the water has really receded at this point.
Yeah, that's right, Leslie. Water has actually receded several feet over the past few hours here in Thurmont, which means we can get right up close to this school bus that was the subject of this water rescue earlier today. Two things I want to show our flashlight so they can get a better idea. Look at all this debris on the front of the bus. You can see this that go up about 3 feet up off the ground, which again tells you how high up this floodwater was earlier today. And again, just how dangerous this situation was. We're going to walk back here. You can actually see one of the back wheels of this bus completely off the ground. I can put my hand underneath it, again showing just how dangerous this situation was. In total, 10 students had to be rescued off this bus earlier today, including the bus driver as well. You can imagine how scary this was for parents earlier today. We spoke to the school district, though, and they're actually commending the bus driver for the way they acted in all of this. Again, we know the bus driver was driving along this road. There were no road closures at the time, and the driver saw flash flooding happening in the distance. They were not driving through the water, but they called dispatch upon seeing it. And then again, just how crazy, how quickly something like this can change. The flash flooding led to the dangerous situation and quickly led to that water rescue needing to happen. But again, the school district sent out a statement a short while ago apologizing to parents for causing all this stress and anxiety earlier today, guys. But again, the most important note of all this, with this bus almost on its side, you can see right here, all 10 students were able to get off safely and the bus driver were able to get off safely. We do know Frederick County Public Schools will be in a 2-hour delay tomorrow morning due to these bad weather conditions. Guys?
You know, I'm so glad to hear that everybody is okay. And again, the message for everybody, turn around, don't drown. All right, tornado damage at a local high school. You've got to stick around to see this video. We are live in Edgewater in just 60 seconds. We are back with the extensive storm damage we're seeing in our area, and some of the worst of it is in Edgewater in Anne Arundel County. South River High School got hit hard. Jess Arnold is there live. Jess, let's talk about what you're seeing at the high school.
Well, Leslie, the majority of this damage to the high school was actually here at the football stadium. If we zero in over here, you can see that the tornado ripped through and just completely uprooted this tree, sending it flying onto the bleachers here, crushing them. There's also debris all over the track, still littering the ground here, as well as out on the field. Now, the good thing, though, is a spokesperson said that the school itself didn't really sustain much damage and no one was hurt. But when that tornado came through, there was a school board meeting going on, so staff were inside, as were some students who said that they were helping out with orientation. Now, we actually spoke with a pair of brothers who are a freshman and a senior who said that they were there to help out with orientation, that they had then gone outside to play spike ball when they heard the principal come over the announcement saying, hey, get inside, you got to take cover. So they rushed in as the football field and then the Center of Applied Technology South, which is behind the high school, took the brunt of all that damage.
It was a little bit awe-inspiring, but also terrifying, knowing the fact that if we were outside and we didn't hear the principal come on and say, come inside, that we could have been caught in the crosshairs of that damage just playing spike ball. And the fact that, you know, it could have wiped us out too, because it was really right there, was certainly scary.
Now, they're working to make sure that everything is set to go to begin school on Monday. Leslie.
Yeah, what a way to start the school year, Jess. Glad to hear everybody's okay for sure. We'll be right back. We're not over yet. More storm coverage you don't want to miss. Just stay up 15 more minutes. The video is just incredible. A tornado touches down in Edgewater.
Drove like the Fast and Furious driver off to the side of the road.
We're hearing from a mother who was there when it happened, what she had to quickly do to keep her family safe. Deadly flooding. A teenager killed after water rushes into a Rockville apartment. The problems people who live there are still facing tonight.
The storms have moved out, so what's in store for the rest of the week? I'll let you know in DC's most accurate forecast.
Thanks for staying up with us. All of this and much more in just 2 minutes. We have more breaking news to cover on today's storm. The first sign of what was to come arrived early this morning in Rockville. A 19-year-old man died overnight in a flood at the Rock Creek Woods Apartments. That downpour sent floodwaters into ground floor apartments, and it happened at 3 a.m. when most families were sound asleep. 19-year-old Melkin Daniel Cedillo drowned in that flood. Another person is still missing. Evan Kosloff is live in Rockville. And Evan, you spoke with Cedillo's family just moments ago. What did they tell you?
Well, obviously, they're just heartbroken by all this. This is a terribly tragic situation that happened. As he said, Rock Creek Woods apartment is where it all happened. Water swept through multiple basement units, including one unit where that 19-year-old was inside and sadly drowned. We're going to hear from the family, but first let's just start by showing those visuals. And this is what Montgomery County said happened. They said they responded at 3:50 in the morning. Crews evacuated dozens of people. 150 residents approximately, they said, were displaced, and neighbors were brought to a nearby rec center. And as for the most tragic part, which is what we've been talking about, Montgomery County says a 19-year-old drowned inside one of those units, and family has identified him as Melkin Daniel Cedillo. You're seeing him on his screen, so young. We spoke with an uncle who had this to say.
La familia está destrozada porque tú sabes, como te digo, pues no son cosas que no se esperaban. Uno no las espera y es algo muy doloroso lo que la familia está pasando ahorita. Era una persona un muchacho muy bueno. La verdad que él siempre vivía de la casa al trabajo. La madre ella está en el hospital por este momento, pero esperamos de que ya pues pronto algo. Sabemos que es un dolor que no se puede comparar con nada, porque perder un hijo pues es algo que deja marcada la vida de uno para siempre.
Now there's a GoFundMe account that was created. All the money goes to funeral expenses. I just checked moments before the show. Almost $15,000 has already been raised. If you want to donate, you could go to our website, WSA9.com. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Ev, our hearts go out to that family and the families of all the people who are without a home tonight. All right, a mother of two driving down the highway in Edgewater, Maryland, sees a tornado whipping debris right in front of her. She gets her family to safety and then captures the amazing video you're seeing here. New at 11, our Nathan Baca has more on what that family witnessed.
Laura Martine was driving down Maryland Route 2 and confronted by this sight.
Then my younger son said, I think those are just birds. And when I realized birds don't fly around in circles and up and down with lightning strikes, that this was indeed the tornado that we had been warned about.
Laura's older son Craig began to realize the danger his family faced.
When the lightning strike happened and we actually saw the pieces of debris get a lot closer and the tornado swirl around, it was pretty scary.
I was in mom mode, which is we've got to get to shelter. Drove like the Fast and Furious driver off to the side of the road into Lito's Pizza there in Edgewater.
Laura shot this video from the restaurant window with customers watching the tornado with a mix of awe and fear.
Almost a sense of disbelief. I've seen tornadoes on Twister movies and Wizard of Oz. So there is this kind of disconnect, at least for me.
Now the tornado crossed Maryland Route 2 and just missed Lee Airport a block away with vulnerable small planes parked on the grass right next to the hangar. No damage there and no reports of injury, so a lucky miss here in the business district of Edgewater. Reporting in Edgewater, Nathan Baca, WUSA 9.
You and I have watched that video over and over and over again, and it's just the power of nature and how it moves and what we could see, and it just is incredible.
Well, it's mesmerizing because we always talk about this, but we rarely see video that clearly here in the metro. I mean, out in the Midwest you do, you have more chances, but that was a pretty amazing video. Now, we have some more video for you. This came to us from Tom. He sent this in, and that's a tree on Bradley Boulevard. Lots of trees around Bradley. I believe they have it cleared up now. That's the latest report I have, but it was quite a storm.
That took down some power lines, too,
Yes, it
Tom.
did. Yes, it did. So where is our friend now? Ida's remnants are now essentially moving through New York, essentially up 95 through the Northeast Corridor. So it affected millions and millions of people in the Northeast Corridor. We'll see some flooding up there. You'll see flooding around New York and also probably as far north as Albany and Hartford and also Boston. So we have rainfall amounts, and this was impressive. Now, this is the past 24 hours. So this right here was that massive storm that developed last night between about 12:30 and about 3 o'clock. Just a massive storm. Many folks have said they've never heard a storm like that. I think it was actually the thunder reverberating off the heavy rain and changing the sound of it. And there's your bullseye up near Frederick and Thurmont. No doubt about that. But we had some pretty impressive rains around the Rockville area. That's 3.4 inches. And again, that was mainly last night. And then almost 8 inches around Walkersville. That's why there's still some flood warnings in effect for Frederick County. The good news is the river flood watch for Little Falls in Maryland and for Harper's Ferry has been canceled. So that maybe all this rain will be able to be contained in the river. We shall see. Right now, we're just looking at aerial flood warnings in Frederick and up into Hagerstown. But again, you might come across an area even tomorrow morning. Don't drive across the flooded road. Temperatures, look at this, is great. Low 80s tomorrow, only in the 70s on Friday and Saturday. Low 80s Sunday, mid 80s Monday. Today was the first day of meteorological fall, which is comprised of September, October, November. So it's going to start feeling like fall. In fact, low temps tomorrow night. You ready for this? Friday morning, 50 in Leesburg, 63 downtown, 51 in Gaithersburg. That's going to require a sweater for the kids at the bus stop. Perfect running forecast across the board. 60s to start, only 77 by 5 o'clock. That's pretty nice. So, mostly sunny, beautiful tomorrow. A fantastic Friday. You might need a sweater at night. And then warming up a bit over the holiday weekend. So, I think we have earned these next 3 days. A low 80s tomorrow, near 80 Friday, near 80 on Saturday. Notice these lows in the low 60s. Subtract 10 if you're in the burbs. Isolated storm on Sunday. Nat still in town. Wouldn't worry about that right now. Pleasant for Labor Day. Better chance for storms next Tuesday and Wednesday with highs still holding in the 80s. We'll be right back after this.
WUSA 9 Sports with Darren Haynes, sponsored by Xfinity.
Our storm coverage continues, and I'm at South River High School in here in Maryland, and there's supposed to be a football game here. A tornado rolled through, and that is now in doubt. There's also some stuff here. We have a soccer goalpost and a field hockey goal that has been toppled over. Now, earlier, I want you to take a look at this. Helicopter video of the stadium where you can see the concession stand has significant damage. I caught up with one of the football coaches when he first saw the damage, and this is what he had to say.
I'm hoping that we'll get a home game in this year. We've got potentially juniors next year that'll never have a home game with COVID, and now this. You know, that's pretty tough. I know these kids have worked really hard all season. We got them out here at 6 a.m. this morning knowing the storm was coming, and never in a million years would I have expected it took out potentially the structural integrity of the stadium here. So I don't know, hopefully another school will accommodate us to play on Friday night against Westminster. I know the kids are real excited about it. So hopefully we'll make do, and hopefully the damage isn't that bad and we can actually get them their first home game since, what, 2019? So it's been a long time, and a lot is messed up out here, not just for football, but all sports. I mean, the winds had to have been over 100 miles an hour in here.
Now, the good news is their competition is actually helping out. Annapolis High School is allowing them to practice tomorrow. It's actually, they play Annapolis High School, their final game of the season. In regards to their first game of the season that'll take place on Friday, a decision will be made if they'll play that here at South River High School or at a different location sometime on Thursday. Reporter from Edgewater in Maryland, I'm Darren Haynes, WUSA 9 Sports.
I love to see that sportsmanship between both teams. And Dee, I know we can both agree they deserve some Friday night lights after a week like this.
We do.
We'll be right back. All hail the chief.
Yes, and we get a couple of nice days. I think we've earned these days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, almost like fall, a little warmer on Sunday, maybe a thunderstorm Sunday, wouldn't plan around that, and still nice on Labor Day. The only concern now is river flooding, and Chester will have more on that on Get Up DC. You know, all this water has to go somewhere, and it goes in the river, the Potomac River Basin, and goes downstream. So we'll monitor that.
We sure will. That's it for us. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. Be safe. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is next.